Ukrainian forces are steadily reshaping the battlefield with drones that pressure Russian positions along the spits and coastline in southwestern Ukraine. The expanded campaign is creating panic among Russian commanders, who increasingly fear that these Ukrainian operations may actually be preparing the conditions for something much larger. Recently released Ukrainian footage illustrates these Russian fears, as one Ukrainian Bayraktar drone destroyed a Russian boat attempting to transport personnel or supplies to the Tenderivska spit. Another clip shows a quick Russian boat trying to exploit its high speed, but without success, as it is destroyed even before reaching the shore. While the Bayraktar has spent much of the past 2 years operating primarily as a reconnaissance asset because of Russian air defenses, the systematic Ukrainian attacks against Russian radar stations and air defense systems have opened growing gaps, allowing larger drones to operate much closer to the front once again. At the same time, Ukraine's 40th Marine Brigade employed Barracuda unmanned naval vessels that function as mobile drone carriers. They allowed the transportation of FPV and heavy bomber drones used to strike observation posts, ammunition depots, and logistics positions, as confirmed by Ukrainian footage. Other Barracuda drones were captured carrying anti-aircraft missiles for self-protection, further eroding Russia's ability to counter their activity. Together with persistent Ukrainian surveillance, these operations are steadily making Russian positions along the Tenderivska spit and nearby coastlines increasingly difficult to hold. This sustained pressure forced many Russian analysts to think that Ukraine is preparing something far more ambitious than drone strikes meant simply to eliminate Russian soldiers and weaken their overall posture. Some of them are increasingly speculating that Ukrainian special forces are rehearsing operations around the Kinburn Peninsula, pointing to reported boat exercises and smokescreen training near the Yuzhny Bug River, leading toward the Dnipro-Bug estuary. According to these Russian assessments, more than 2,500 Ukrainian soldiers from various formations subordinate to the 30th Marine Corps have reportedly assembled in the direction. They are supported by 46 boats, over 100 inflatable boats, at least 9 naval drones, and additional armored vehicles and artillery systems. Concerned that these preparations could precede an amphibious operation, Russian forces launched a strike against what they described as a Ukrainian staging area along the Yuzhny Bug River, using 5 geranium drones to strike at buildings and grass on the territory of the base. Russian analysts pointed out the attack was to disrupt any Ukrainian operation before it began, claiming it had also damaged boats and equipment, although no visual confirmation of any of these losses has emerged. Russian analysts believe the Ukrainian plan for an amphibious attack would unfold in several carefully coordinated phases. Ukraine would initially conduct a limited diversionary landing near Pokrovsk, using a relatively small force designed to probe Russian defenses while establishing a temporary beachhead. Fire support would reportedly come from rocket-armed naval drones and FPV drones operating from both landing craft and nearby positions on the mainland. Once Russian defenses would be pinned down, a larger assault force of up to 800 troops would land further along the coastline, aiming to isolate nearby settlements before advancing toward the administrative boundary separating Kherson and Mykolaiv regions. One Ukrainian regiment is attaching explosive drones to its infantry squads to help clear Russians from buildings. Tiny first-person view drones are everywhere all the time over the 1,100-kilometer front line of Russia's 43-month wider war on Ukraine. But most of them are surveillance and attack assets. They scan for targets over or near the front line, and then zoom in and explode. Now, at least one Ukrainian unit is finding a new use for the ubiquitous FPVs. The 225th Assault Regiment, holding the line outside Voronezh, in southern Ukraine's Dnipropetrovsk Oblast, with its M2 Bradley fighting vehicles, has begun attaching FPVs to infantry squads to help the squads clear buildings of Russian troops. Clearing buildings is deadly. An enemy can be in every corner, the regiment explained. When the infantry must enter a structure, they can send an FPV to scout ahead. If the enemy is found, the regiment explained, the drone strikes, keeping our infantry safe. It's delicate work, requiring extreme precision on the part of the distant drone operator, who wears a virtual reality headset to see what the warhead-clutching FPV sees. An FPV explodes on contact with any surface, so an imprecise maneuver can endanger the drone's human squad mates. To guarantee an uninterrupted signal between the operator and their drone, the 225th Assault Regiment uses fiber-optic FPVs for clearance missions. Fiber-optic drones send and receive signals via kilometers-long optical fibers, making them impervious to radio jamming and the signal dead zones created by buildings or hills. The Ukrainians aren't the only ones innovating with their smallest drones. The Russians have new ideas too. FPVs are so dangerous and so terrifying that soldiers tend to duck into their trenches as soon as they hear the drone's distinctive buzzing. For that reason, some Russian regiments use the drones as suppressive fire. Suppressive fire is an infantry tactic that's as old as gunpowder. Basically, it means shooting at the enemy with something. Rifles, machine guns, mortars, or artillery, with enough intensity to drive the enemy underground for as long as it takes friendly forces to breach the enemy's defenses and advance. Drones can suppress the enemy without even striking. Soldiers begin to hide from the sound of UAVs alone and do not leave cover for a long time. If the enemy is accustomed to being afraid of drones, then a UAV carousel, that is, the successive replacement of one strike UAV with another, can lead to the effect of suppressing positions, despite significant time intervals between strikes, Unfair Advantage explained. Infantry should begin their movement to contact with the enemy during an initial wave of drone attacks. After the strikes are completed, the infantry takes cover and waits for the next wave of UAVs to arrive, or continues to move, but out of the line of sight of the defenders, the blogger wrote. This is repeated several times until the infantry reaches the immediate vicinity of the attacked position. There, the attackers wait for more drones before making their final push through the enemy positions. Drones should be overhead the whole time during the breach, a mixed carousel of observation UAVs and attack UAVs, unfair advantage advised. To prolong the endurance of any turn of the UAV carousel, the operators can land some drones on the ground or on rooftops, idling their engines but keeping their cameras on, thus preserving the robot's batteries. As long as at least one drone is audible by the defending infantry, the infantry should keep their heads down. They should, in other words, remain suppressed. The respective new drone tactics belie deepening manpower problems on both sides of the wider war. More and more, both the Ukrainian and Russian armed forces are counting on robots to perform tasks most militaries still assign to human beings. Ukraine's manpower shortage is well known. It's possible Ukrainian brigades are short 100,000 trained infantry. But Russia has too few troops too, despite generous bonuses and deceptive recruiting practices that lure or trap tens of thousands of fresh enlistees every month. Overall, Russian regiments probably have plenty of soldiers. But like Ukrainian brigades, they may specifically lack trained and experienced infantry.